Every 40 seconds, someone in the US has a stroke. But what's truly alarming isn't how often it happens. It's how quietly it begins. Most strokes don't come with a dramatic collapse. They start with small, easy-to-ignore signs. A dizzy spell, a stumble, a sentence that doesn't come out quite right. Most people brush it off. Blame stress, poor sleep, aging. But these could be early warnings, signals from your brain that something serious is coming. Doctors call it a TIA, transient ischemic attack, or mini stroke. It lasts a few minutes, then disappears. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Studies show 43% of stroke patients had a TIA the week before. But most missed it. They didn't act. And when the real stroke hit, it was too late. That's why this video matters. We'll show you 10 subtle warning signs that can appear up to a week before a stroke. Some may seem harmless. Some last just seconds. But spotting them early could save your life or someone you love. So please, stay with us. Your body might already be warning you. Let's make sure you're listening. First, sudden confusion, trouble speaking, or understanding speech. If someone suddenly starts slurring words, can't form a sentence, or looks confused about where they are, don't assume they're just tired. These could be signs that the brain's language and cognitive centers are under attack. These symptoms are part of what doctors call the FAST method to detect stroke. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911. Speech difficulty isn't just slurring. It includes forgetting words, speaking nonsense, or struggling to understand simple questions. According to the American Stroke Association, these signs should never be ignored. Many stroke awareness videos, including those from Mayo Clinic and Dr. Mike on YouTube, show how subtle these symptoms can be. A person may speak fine one moment, then suddenly sound confused or off. Even if the episode lasts just a minute, it could be a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke, and a warning that a major stroke is coming. The clarity call. If you or someone around you experiences sudden confusion or speech changes, call 911 immediately. Even if symptoms go away, the risk hasn't. Second, ignoring lifestyle risks, smoking, alcohol, and sitting too much. You've probably heard it before. Smoking, heavy drinking, and inactivity are bad for your health. But for your brain, they're among the biggest stroke triggers. Let's start with smoking. It damages your arteries, thickens your blood, and cuts off oxygen. Even a few cigarettes a day triple your stroke risk. Vaping? Still harmful. It increases inflammation and can lead to clot formation. Alcohol is another hidden danger. The CDC warns that even moderate heavy drinking increases blood pressure, one of the leading causes of stroke. And then there's sitting too much. Many people over 60 spend hours in front of the TV or computer. But sitting for long periods, even if you exercise later, slows circulation and raises clot risk. Harvard research shows that people who sit more than 8 hours a day have significantly higher stroke risk. The good news? Even small changes help. According to studies in The Lancet and JAMA Neurology, adopting healthier habits can reduce stroke risk by up to 80%. That includes quitting smoking, limiting alcohol, moving for at least 1 minute every 30 minutes of sitting, leading health YouTubers, like Med School Insiders, break it down well. You don't have to be perfect, just consistent. The protective pivot. If you smoke, seek support to quit. Cut back on alcohol. And set a timer to stand and stretch every 30 minutes. It takes just 1 minute to protect your blood flow and brain. Third, the no time for breakfast or caffeine first trap. Skipping breakfast or making coffee or tea your very first intake of the day, before ever drinking water, is more than a harmless habit. It's a serious health red flag. After sleeping for 8 to 10 hours, your blood sugar naturally drops, and stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline spike to help compensate. This hormonal surge can elevate blood pressure and strain your blood vessels. But when you delay breakfast and jump straight into caffeine intake, especially when already dehydrated, the risk only grows. Caffeine acts as a diuretic, increasing fluid loss and thickening your blood. Thicker blood requires your heart to work harder and raises the risk of clot formation while spiking your blood pressure. These combined effects make skipping breakfast, particularly when paired with immediate caffeine intake, a stealthy danger to brain health. Studies consistently link skipping breakfast with elevated markers of cardiovascular risk, including higher blood pressure, worse cholesterol levels, and metabolic dysfunctions that predispose individuals to stroke and heart disease. The solution is simple yet powerful. Make a habit of eating something, even a small, nutrient-rich bite, within the first hour of waking, and always drink water before reaching for caffeine. This helps stabilize blood sugar, rehydrate your body, and soften the load on your heart and vessels. Fourth, sudden dizziness, loss of balance, or trouble walking. Dizziness, sudden loss of balance, and difficulty walking are not just signs of aging. They can be urgent signals that something is wrong in the brain. These symptoms are among the early red flags for stroke, as recognized by organizations like the CDC and the Stroke Association. A specific type of stroke, posterior circulation stroke, often manifests with sudden onset dizziness and coordination issues, caused by reduced blood flow to the brainstem or cerebellum. In some cases, this may be the only warning before a major stroke. The critical role of balance and walking changes is even reflected in an evolution of FAST into the B-FAST mnemonic, which adds balance and eyes for better detection of these signs. Research shows that while many causes of dizziness are benign, when dizziness is accompanied by balance problems, even if they seem mild, it can be a predictor of stroke or TIA, transient ischemic attack. One study found that patients presenting with imbalance were nearly 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with stroke or TIA, compared to those with isolated, non-specific dizziness. When sudden dizziness or difficulty walking strikes, especially if paired with other fast symptoms, like speech trouble or face weakness, it's imperative to act quickly. Even if the episode resolves, the underlying risk doesn't vanish. Fifth, the morning rush and ignoring hydration. If your mornings consistently begin in a whirlwind, rushing from one task to another, diving straight into work or errands, and critically, skipping that first glass of water, your body's already under stress from the moment you wake. After several hours of sleep, mild dehydration is natural, but that means your blood becomes thicker first thing in the morning, putting extra strain on your heart and increasing clotting risk. Dehydrated blood, being more viscous, struggles to circulate, especially if any of your blood vessels are already narrowed. A dangerous combination that significantly elevates stroke risk. This phenomenon may help explain why stroke and heart attack incidents spike in the early hours of the day, an observation noted in medical research on cardiovascular timing. Yet morning dehydration isn't talked about enough. Even mild fluid loss can trigger elevated stress hormone levels. Recent studies show that individuals consuming less than 1.5 liters of water per day had over 50% higher cortisol levels, a hormone that, when chronically elevated, contributes to high blood pressure, inflammation, and increased long-term risk for diseases, including heart attack and stroke. On the flip side, starting your day with hydration has real benefits across physical and cognitive domains. Drinking water in the morning helps rehydrate your system, optimize digestion and metabolism, and even sharpen mental focus and mood. Moreover, large-scale data shows that people who consume the most plain water can lower their stroke risk by about 25% compared to those who drink less than 6 cups daily. The life-saving shift. Begin each day with a full glass of water before checking your phone, before starting work, and certainly before coffee. It thins your blood, reduces stress on your heart, and gives your cardiovascular system a gentle, protective launch into the day. Sixth, unexplained changes in your senses or fine motor skills. While the classic fast symptoms, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, are critical, sometimes the earliest warnings are subtler, manifesting in your senses or in coordination, and they may vanish as quickly as they appear. Vision changes are particularly telling. Sudden blurred or double vision, or brief loss of sight, especially if only in one eye, are often early signs of disrupted blood flow to areas of the brain responsible for vision processing. These can easily be dismissed as fatigue or blinking issues, but they are frequently tied to serious underlying conditions. Numbness or tingling that radiates unexpectedly, particularly on one side of the face, arm, or leg, should ring alarm bells. These sensory disturbances hint at impaired neurological pathways and may precede stroke or TIA, transient ischemic attack. New difficulty with fine motor skills, such as struggling to write legibly, button shirts, or experiencing newfound clumsiness, suggests that the brain's coordination centers may be compromised. Even temporary shifts in hearing, taste, or smell, though less often standalone indicators, contribute to a broader picture of neurological shifts that shouldn't be ignored. Attentive action. Any sudden, unexplained change in your senses or coordination deserves immediate attention, even if it resolves quickly. These may be the quietest warnings before a much more serious event takes hold. 7. Sudden, severe headache with no known cause. Headaches are common and often benign, but every now and then, one demands your full attention. A sudden, explosive headache, frequently described as the worst headache of my life, may signal a hemorrhagic stroke. This kind of stroke occurs when a blood vessel in the brain ruptures, causing bleeding that increases pressure on delicate brain tissues and disrupts normal blood flow. This dramatic, intense pain, often referred to medically as a thunderclap headache, typically reaches peak intensity within seconds to a minute and can persist for hours. Unlike tension headaches or migraines, this pain comes on abruptly without warning and is unusually severe. It may also be accompanied by nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, or even confusion, further signaling an underlying neurological emergency. These thunderclap headaches are a hallmark of subarachnoid hemorrhage, a specific kind of bleeding in the space surrounding the brain, often caused by a ruptured aneurysm, coming with life-threatening consequences. Nearly half of those experiencing such bleeding events may die within a month, and many survivors endure lasting neurological damage. The urgent response. Don't assume you just have a bad headache. Treat a sudden, excruciating headache as a medical emergency. Call 911 immediately. Immediate evaluation can make the difference between recovery and lifelong harm. 8th, any of the fast symptoms. Even if they seem to pass, these signs are amongst the most important for spotting an acute stroke. But even when they fade quickly, they should never be ignored. Instead, they could be a warning of a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, often called a mini stroke. TIAs produce stroke-like symptoms, such as facial drooping, arm weakness, or speech problems, but resolve within minutes, usually under 5, and leave no permanent damage. Yet TIAs are far from harmless. They indicate increased risk. Roughly 15 to 20% of ischemic strokes are preceded by TIAs. Alarmingly, within just 48 hours, the risk of a full stroke is elevated to an estimated 3–10%. By 7 days, it rises to about 5%. And within 90 days, risk ranges from 9–17%. Additionally, specific population studies report stroke risks as high as 11–13% within a week, and 17–21% by around 3 months. Because TIA symptoms vanish so quickly, many individuals mistake them for fatigue, stress, or aging, delaying medical evaluation. And it's this delay that often leads to devastating outcomes. The critical action, T, equals sign time. If you or someone experiences any fast symptoms, facial drooping, arm weakness, or speech difficulty, call 911 immediately, even if the signs seem to fade. Time saved can save brain function, as about 1 in 5 ischemic strokes are preceded by promptly treatable TIAs. Ninth, the silent stress overload. Your body's stress response is powerful, but when it's left on, day after day, it quietly undermines your heart and brain health. If your mornings or entire days feel like a non-stop stream of rushing, checking emails, jumping into demanding tasks without a pause, you're likely triggering a perpetual fight-or-flight response. This chronic stress floods the brain and body with hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, these chemicals contribute to elevated blood pressure, inflammation, and arterial narrowing, all of which increase stroke risk. Sustained high cortisol also impairs neural health by decreasing protective proteins like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, and increasing inflammatory markers such as interleukins, which can lead to cognitive decline and mood disturbances. Studies have demonstrated that chronic stress not only impairs vascular function, but directly correlates with higher incidence of transient ischemic attacks, TIAs, and full-blown strokes. The longer your body stays in this heightened state, the more it wears down your resilience. But it doesn't take long to shift course. Simple, intentional micro breaks in your routine, such as 5 minutes of guided breathing, a brief walk outside, or even listening to calming music, can reset your system. These small pauses help lower cortisol, ease arterial tension, and reduce the cumulative impact of stress. By managing stress proactively, especially if you're over 60 or caring for someone who is, you're not just preserving your mood or focus. You're safeguarding your vascular system and lowering stroke risk. 10th, persistent fatigue and unexplained sleep pattern changes. Too little or too much sleep. While occasional tiredness is natural, persistent fatigue or sudden shifts in how much you need to sleep can be a serious red flag. Both sleep deprivation and oversleeping have been found to increase stroke risk, creating a U-shaped relationship. On the one end, sleeping less than 7 hours a night is associated with higher blood pressure, metabolic problems, obesity, and elevated inflammation, all of which raise stroke likelihood. On the other, consistently sleeping 9 hours or more, especially when coupled with lengthy daytime napping or poor sleep quality, doubles or triples stroke risk in some populations. One large study found that those sleeping over 9 hours with long naps had 85% higher risk of stroke compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. Other large-scale analyses confirm this pattern, showing elevated risk for both ischemic and hemorrhagic strokes among long sleepers. These sleep disturbances often go hand in hand with underlying conditions: depression, sleep apnea, physical inactivity, or metabolic dysfunction, all of which multiply stroke risk. Thus, oversleeping can be more of a signal than a cause. The restorative action. Aim for 7-8 hours of high-quality sleep nightly. If you're experiencing unexplained fatigue, unusual shifts in sleep duration, or still feel drained after rest, it's time to consult your doctor. Addressing underlying sleep issues now can protect your cardiovascular health in the long run. Your body's extraordinary. It works around the clock to keep you alive. And when something isn't right, it usually tries to tell you. Sometimes it's subtle, a moment of dizziness, a sudden lapse in focus, or fatigue that doesn't make sense. Other times the warning is stronger, like a sharp headache or sudden trouble speaking. The danger is that too often, these signals are brushed aside as just aging, just stress, or just a bad day. But in reality, they can be early signs of stroke. And when it comes to stroke, every second matters. Stroke is one of the leading causes of disability and death. But here's the hopeful truth. Many strokes can be prevented. And when warning signs are recognized early, lives can be saved. Awareness is your greatest tool. By paying attention to changes in your body and acting fast, you give yourself or your loved ones the best possible chance of recovery. But prevention doesn't start at the hospital. It starts in your daily life. The choices you make each morning and throughout the day shape your long-term health. Drinking water when you wake up, eating a healthy breakfast, staying active, managing stress, and getting 7-8 hours of quality sleep all add layers of protection for your brain and heart. Health isn't about luck. It's about habits. And it's never too late to start making better ones. So here's the takeaway. Listen to your body. Take these warning signs seriously and act immediately. If you or someone near you experiences sudden confusion, weakness, trouble speaking, or vision changes, don't wait. Call 911 right away. Fast action saves brain cells, and fast action saves lives. And here's how you can help strengthen our community. If you found this video helpful, like it, so more people know this information matters. For clear, research-based tips on staying healthy after 50, subscribe to Senior Health Guide. And most importantly, share this video with friends and family. Your awareness could help protect the people you love most. Finally, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these signs or habits surprised you the most? Share in the comments. Your experience may be exactly what someone else needs to take their health seriously. Together, we can live longer, stronger, and healthier lives.